Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. This is a nearly unboxing video because obviously I've already unboxed it. This is a one-off purchase that was it was either free or next to no postage for what is obviously quite a large plant, and it was one that I hadn't heard of before. It's a maxillaria, so the chances are it's changed to something else. But it's Arachniflora, and the fact that it starts with arachne, you can guess what the flowers are like. It hasn't got any, but this is how not to pack. If you sell stuff, and I'm sure some of you do now and again, or you send them to friends, this is how not to pack. Next to no packing whatsoever, and the plant bent in so that quite a few of the leaves are like that, where they've been folded over. Yeah, not good. Because those will never straighten out, they'll always have those creases, and that was in the picture when I bought it. Okay, I knew some of the leaves had been trimmed, they probably got brown tips, but as a plant it's got plenty of new growths coming with good healthy leaves, so those older leaves will get replaced anyway. I don't really need to repot that, it's practically out of its pot anyway, isn't it? But it's got a reasonable root system in there. I'll get it out of there and get it in something decent, and in the meantime I'll have a go at that box, which is very late, and I had apologies. The eBay seller sold loads of plants and then realised she was going on holiday, so sent apologies to everybody and said that she would dispatch them when she got back from holiday. The only thing I hope is that they were looked after while she was on holiday. And I do believe there might be a freebie in there. Anyway, I'll get the worst of the boxing out and we'll have a look at the ones that are in there. That's a bit more like it. Good strong box, no creases, no dents. This one's all squashed in, so as I said, but I think that was a one-off seller, a guy selling one plant. Probably never sold an orchid before, and as I say, it was badly packed. This one's a bit more professional. Plenty of wrapping. And I presume that's going to be out of its pot. That's going to be in its pot. These are young plants. These are not going to be anything big. Now I bought 3. No, and my free gift is a bag of dust. Only joking. I've actually got a bag of bark as my free gift. Excuse that sound. Good job it's not a sticking plaster on a hairy leg or worse. Right. Oh, sticky stuff. So a bag of bark. Now I don't know what the quality of that bark is, but the one thing I do know in there is there are some very, very large chunks. There's also a lot of dust. But dust will wash off, that's not a big deal. So it's very, very hard bark. So that's not bad. If nothing else, that'll do for crocking in the bottom of bigger pots, because my large bark isn't as large as that. They didn't have the largest size. So anyway, I'll get the actual orchids out of their wrapping and we'll have a look at them. So I need 2 hands basically. Okay, there we go then, they're out of their box. Now this one is obviously a dendrobium. Well, maybe not, obviously. That's Delacurii. It's quite a miniature plant. I mean, this is a young plant, so but I decided to get it based on its flower. If you Google the name and look at orchid species, you'll get a good view of the flower. It's quite unusual, shape and colour. So that can go in the dendrobium collection. It's got 3 new growths on it and a couple of deciduous canes. The way that it's wobbling around in there, it's probably just been stuck in the pot to actually sell, and it'll need to come out of there and get sorted out properly. This is an unusual cross. It's Jenkinsii, which I've already got a specimen plant of that, although it hasn't flowered, and it's actually crossed with that aggregatum. And the combination of those two should be pretty good. and that's actually a mature plant. That may well flower next year. I know it doesn't look very big, but if you go back on my videos and have a look at Jenkinsii, the mature plant I've got. Can I get to it quickly? Yes. That's my Jenkinsii. As you can see, it's that's a pretty mature plant. So and that's the size of the bulbs, and that's what they look like. It is a genuine miniature. I call it the squash grape plant because that's what the pseudo bulbs look like. So that's one of the parents, not actual parent, but you know what I mean. And yeah, so that's crossed with another relatively small one, and that's got new growths coming on it. And as I said, although it doesn't look very large, it is a miniature dendrobium, and that could flower next spring. And then this thing is a Latoria. It's not a very good example, and it's in moss. It's coming out of that straight away. Latorias are, I suppose the easiest way to describe them is they are like the Phalaenopsis dendrobiums. In other words, they have a constant growing nature. They don't do the dry winter rest thing. They probably slow down in the UK, although I haven't had any long enough to have gotten through a winter yet. But it's coming out of that moss on the grounds that they do like moisture, they do drink, but they don't like to be soggy. And it's very difficult to achieve that in moss, so it's coming straight out of there. And there's a leaf dying off there, but I mean that's a natural process, and it has one nice little growth coming out. That again, that's not a large dendrobium, and that's some dendrobium green elf. I just like the flower, and I want to try and get a collection of Latoria types going. So that's the three. I don't know where the label went for that. It was in there when I unpacked it, and it flew out in the packaging somewhere. I may find it later, or I can do a new one. And my free gift. So 4 new orchids to sort out. That huge maxillaria, and as I said, the flower on that is quite unusual, and I'm quite happy to make space for that, even though that's quite a large plant. But it's definitely coming out of, as I said, it won't take much repotting. I could probably just tip it, yeah, virtually out of the pot anyway. God knows what that's potted in. That's coming out of there straight away. And I will repot these 3. This one will definitely go on a mount. It lends itself to going on a mount. God, that's dry. That needs some water. But if I'm going to mount it now, it'll get watered. That one I'll have to do a quick check on its eventual size, because it is quite a young plant. I do believe it's a miniature. If it is, it'll get mounted. And then green elf can grow up to what you might call, I suppose, small. It's not miniature, but it doesn't go up to the medium size compared with some of the other dendrobiums, so it's not going to get huge. So again, I may mount that. I'll see what roots are hanging off the bottom first. I do like dendrobiums mounted. They lend themselves to being absolutely soaked, and they're dry within a day. So I get the wet-dry cycle achieved very, very quickly this time of year, and come winter time, it's harder to achieve that wet-dry cycle. But it's a damn sight easier if you've got them mounted than in a pot, especially if that pot's got moss in it. If it's got moss in it and the temperatures start to drop down and your day lengths get short, that moss is going to stay wet for days and days and days. And that's not ideal for things that like to be either almost or completely dry. And good luck doing a dry winter rest in something with moss, because it's going to be almost impossible. Okay, so I'll show these when I've fiddled with them and got them all how I want them. But a nearly unboxing video, because I can't be doing with trying to unbox and unwrap stuff with one hand. I get ratty, and that's not a good idea. So as soon as I've mounted these and fixed them all up, I'll video them again. Thanks for dropping by. See you next time.